Gravity retaining walls are so named because the weight of the system is what holds it in place. At Brine Masonry, we refer to segmental retaining walls that utilise aggregate or no-fines concrete behind the retaining wall units as gravity retaining walls. The construction of these walls is a relatively simple process, so long as care is taken to ensure each step is completed correctly. The provided cut should be checked to make sure the base and rear of the cut have been accurately cut to the designated foundation and infill material zone requirements. A foundation replacement zone, where required, is provided by installing a zone of compacted road-based material to the underside of the wall foundation to the specified dimensions. The levelling pad, which is generally a 20 MPa concrete in gravity walls, is installed to the specified dimensions atop natural ground or the foundation replacement zone. The level of the levelling pad is checked to ensure compliance with the site requirements and to ensure all steps in the foundation accurately reflect the step in the blockwork. The concrete levelling pad is then screeded to provide a level surface upon which the blocks can be laid. The blocks are laid onto the concrete levelling pad using a string line to ensure correct alignment of the wall units. Where a step in the foundation occurs, it is good practice to key the retaining wall unit into the step for additional strength. Steps should not be any higher than 2 wall units, and preferably only one. Once satisfied with the wall alignment, the blocks are levelled and embedded slightly into the surface of the concrete levelling pad before it goes off. It is essential at this point to ensure that the concrete has hardened enough to support the weight of the retaining wall units, but not so much that the blocks cannot be embedded. The level of the retaining wall units should be checked front to back and side to side on each unit and over a number of adjacent units. The subsoil drain is then installed to the back of the retaining wall units, taking care that the minimum 1:100 falls are achieved to the outlet points. Outlets should be provided at no greater than 20 metre centres and may be required at closer intervals in certain applications. The infill material of aggregates or no-fines concrete should then be installed to the rear of the retaining wall units and to the voids between the units on a course-by-course basis. The course-by-course installation of the infill material is necessary to ensure that there is adequate mass in the structure, that the correct degree of bond occurs between each subsequent course of blockwork, and that no settlement occurs in the infill material. Where it is necessary to install the infill material over 2 courses, the cores should be rodded to ensure the infill material penetrates to the course below. Under no circumstances is infill material to be installed in greater than 2 block lifts. The block surface should then be cleaned off in preparation for the next course. This process should be completed course by course until the wall has been constructed to its full height. The level and the alignment of the units should also be checked at each course. The PVC sleeves that can be seen standing behind the concrete levelling pad are used to house fence posts following construction of the wall. This allows fencing contractors to install their fence posts to an adequate design depth without having any adverse effects on the installation of the wall. Once the wall is installed at full height, it becomes time to install the capping units. Capping units are not required for all retaining wall types. The caps should be placed with a string line along the face of the units to provide a neat finish at the face of the wall. The capping unit should be adhered to the course of the retaining wall units immediately underneath and to the capping units on either side. Geogrid reinforced retaining walls are so named because the mass of the geogrid reinforced soil block behind the retaining wall units holds everything in place. The process for installation of the foundation and retaining wall units remains as previously shown in the gravity wall process. The work required to install the reinforced soil block is detailed in this DVD. The sequence is determined by the stage of construction you are at and may vary to what is shown here. A level working surface should be used at all times for ease of construction and safety. The geogrid reinforcement should be supplied to the grade and length as detailed on the certified design documentation. The grid is installed at the appropriate course of blockwork to within 25mm of the face of the retaining wall units. The geogrid is held in place at the wall face by the weight of the retaining wall units and aggregate core fill. The grid should extend from the back of the retaining wall units so that it is totally level and has no voids underneath. You can see a black strip being installed to the rear of the wall units. These are shims. Shims are often used during installation of grid reinforced walls to assist in maintaining the correct setback of the retaining wall units. As shown previously, checking the level and alignment of the wall units is important to provide an aesthetically pleasing finish to the wall surface. Once satisfied with the line and level, commence the placement of the material in the reinforced fill zone. A 12 to 20mm drainage material is installed into the retaining wall unit voids and to a depth of at least 300mm to the rear of the retaining wall units. The infill material for the voids in the retaining wall units should be installed in no greater than 2 unit lifts and preferably in single course lifts. The anchor range of products, as manufactured by Adbri Masonry, have different setbacks and block configurations. The ability of the blocks to have the drainage aggregate installed in greater than single block lifts varies unit to unit. As such, you should check with Adbri Masonry as to the suitability of installing the core fill in greater than single block lifts. The geogrid reinforcement should be pulled flat and taut at the back of the retaining wall units, ensuring no voids occur between the underside of the geogrid and the compacted fill material. The grid should be pinned in place. The geogrid should form a continuous layer at each of the designated wall elevations. There should be no gaps between the individual sheets of geogrid, nor should there be any overlap. The fill material is placed over the top of the geogrid reinforcement, ensuring no vehicles operate on top of the grid. The fill material is to be placed and compacted in layers no deeper than the height of a single retaining wall unit. A granular fill material should be used for this type of construction. Clay fills should be avoided. Any deficit in the level of the drainage column should be fixed at this time. When the backfill material is placed and levelled at the rear of the wall units, compaction can begin. The fill material should be compacted to the designated degree of compaction using equipment which operates parallel to the wall face. The compaction should commence immediately behind the wall units and work outwards to prevent pressure from being exerted on the wall face. No machinery greater than 1500 kilograms should operate within 1.5 metres of the rear of the wall units. Therefore, it is necessary to have access to more than one piece of compaction equipment. When finishing the wall, a lower permeability layer should be installed at the top of the fill material and the drainage column. This is used to minimise water penetration into the grid reinforced soil block. The wall surface should then be cleaned off and capped to finish the wall.